Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
Welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And I'm here with the amazing Bob Carlson from retirementwatch.com. And for those of you that listen to this station, you may have heard of Bob's newsletter, different things like that. And we are so honored to have him with us. And, you know, we've been talking this hour a lot about the challenges, the different situations that are going on in our government today. But I want to talk about an action plan, Bob. What are some basic steps that anyone could take right now to prepare for their retirement?
Well, this is something where you don't need to take my advice, but instead I look to surveys of people who've been retired for a while and what they would have done differently and what advice they would give to younger people. And of course, the first one is they would have saved more. They would have begun saving earlier, even if it was relatively small amounts. And they just generally would have saved more of their income and invested it rather than spending it on things that didn't really last, but things they enjoyed but didn't really last. So first thing is save more, save earlier. Another thing is invest in human capital, your human capital, things that'll make you more valuable to an employer or help you do your job better, or if you own a business, help you do that business better.
Absolutely.
It's an investment that has great returns, far better than anything you can get in the investment markets. So just to keep investing in yourself, no matter what age you are. One thing I find is many people, they get into their late 30s or 40s and they think now they know enough. They're good enough at everything. They just stop learning. They think they can just keep using what they know and move forward with that. And they'll do fine with that, but they'll do better if they keep developing themselves and either learning new skills or getting better at the ones they have. So those are two important things. Another one is, consider the long term in your decisions. And that's something that many retirees say they regret. They did things like take Social Security early, take their pensions early, not pay enough attention to Medicare and long-term care and their options for that when they were younger, and could have done things differently, could have qualified for different types of things, particularly with long-term care, where insurers are getting more and more stringent. And as you get older, the rejection rate for people applying for long-term care insurance just gets higher and higher. So there are things like this that you need to focus on the long term when you're younger. And by younger, I mean really in your 50s or 60s is when you're making a lot of these decisions.
Absolutely.
But when people get into their 70s and beyond, they think about these decisions they made earlier. And back then, they were focusing on the short term rather than the long term. I was writing a book on Social Security a couple of years ago and ran into this woman at a dinner party. And she says, well, I hope you're going to tell them to wait, because my husband and I, we took everything early. We took Social Security, we took our pensions, we went into our retirement funds early. And then he died, and so his Social Security went away and his pension went away, and it was really a mistake. We enjoyed that money. It was great to have it when we were in our 50s and early 60s, but I'm struggling now, and I hope you'll be telling people to wait.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, that's the true thing. And obviously, they're younger now. You've got to advise people that are younger before 50. What would you suggest for them?
Well, for them, it's probably the most important thing is to save early and often. It's tempting to say you can afford to buy these new things that you really want, but think about your older self, when that fancy new TV or car or whatever is long discarded. Is your older self going to be glad you bought it 20 years earlier? Or is it going to wish you'd put some of that money into a retirement fund and invested it, and so you now have a multiple of what you put in rather than not having that money at all? So think about, what you're going to be like older, and again, plan on living beyond average life expectancy, and realize how long that money is going to need to last.
Yes, absolutely. And people can get your book and your newsletter through your website, can they not?
They can get the newsletter through the website, through the book. They have to go through either Amazon.com or the publisher Regnery.com.
Okay. And you can, so everyone, it's Retirement Watch. And just if you could summarize in 1 minute, what is it going to tell us all?
Well, it's going to do two things. It's going to tell you what I do is independent research on these issues. I'm not affiliated with any large financial firms. So when I'm advising on any of these retirement issues, it's just independent. So I'm going to tell you the facts on both sides. I'm going to tell you who should do one strategy and who shouldn't. And it's going to be what's best for you. Another thing I'm going to do is readers tell me I explain things in more detail than other publications do. That the other publications stop when they just start to get interesting. But I try to explain really down a little more in the nitty gritty while still being very straightforward, simple language. And then, of course, as we mentioned earlier, I'm going to keep you up to date on the changes. All these things change. Some of them change quite rapidly or
absolutely.
So
good and bad, right?
Yeah. And so one of the big benefits of the newsletter is I'm going to keep on top of what's going on in the retirement financial world, and I'm going to bring it back to you and let you know what's changed and what that means to you.
Yeah. And I think too, it's something just to even have. Now, how often does the newsletter come out?
It's a monthly newsletter, and we also do a weekly email that provides updates between issues.
And that's important too, because I think out of sight, out of mind, we don't think about what's going on in the world. And to have that monthly check-in and that weekly, email is important. It's important to just keep dialed in a very easy way to be able to do that. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you for having me on.
And Bob, what is the phone number that people can reach out to you?
It's 800-552-1152.
And your email address, or excuse me, your website address is retirementwatch.com.
Correct.
Bob, thanks so much for being on the show with us this week.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Time to get back to Suzanne and more Answers for Elders.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. It is the fall season, when we're all tending to think about closing out the year. And what better way to think about our retirement, this fall season of our lives, and all the ways in which we can enjoy it. And I want to thank very much our guest, Bob Carlson from Retirement Watch, for being with us, talking about financial wellness. We hope you're enjoying the Vitality Revolution. And until next week, be good to each other. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.